YouTube? Common Collector here, and today I am very excited to be bringing you guys this brand new update to my Plunder Patrol deck profile. For those of you guys who don't know, we got one new support card out of Lightning Overdrive this last week in Black Eyes, the Plunder Patrol Sea Guide, and this card is absolutely fantastic. It was exactly what the card needed to just get that nice boost in consistency and be able to just sort of push its plays a little bit harder. For those of you guys who don't know how Plunder Patrols work, basically it all focuses on getting into your extra deck cards, and with that we have one for like each of the mechanics for Fusion, Synchro, XZ, and Link. And then with that, you basically need cards in your hand to discard in order to get off their effects, which really help you to disrupt your opponent and help blow up their board. So with that, you really need to depend on your hand advantage, and this Black Eyes card is just so good at helping to add another monster onto your field and also adding stuff to your hand. So for that reason, this deck is a lot more consistent and can just really push its plays really nicely. The one thing I will say though is I think MBT Yu-Gi-Oh said it best when he said that with Plunder Patrols, you basically have to be playing at like expert level brain capacity, and you have zero room to make any mistakes with this deck. So it is very fun, but you do really need to make sure that you're up to date and practice with it. That way all of your plays go through correctly and that you don't make any big mistakes. But anyways, guys, let's get on into this deck profile. I'm super duper excited. I have just always loved Plunder Patrols ever since they came out. I mean, I'm from Minnesota, so big Vikings fan, and I mean, also, I guess they're like pirates. They're Vikings or they're pirates. We don't really know, but I would say that they're probably more pirates, but I mean, Pirates of the Caribbean, that's like one of the best movies ever made. So anyways, Black Eyes, the Plunder Patrol Sea Guide. So what this card does is that you can special summon this from your hand by adding one of your Plunder Patrol monsters that's in your graveyard back to your hand, which is absolutely insane. So basically, like whatever you have sitting in your graveyard, like if you have a Whitebeard in the grave, you get to just special summon this onto the field, add the Whitebeard back to your hand, and then that means that you have just an extra card for discard fodder or whatever. You can re-normal summon something or just discard off for your field spell. There's just so much that this card can do for the deck. It's absolutely insane. And then also, if this card leaves the monster zone, or like if it gets sent to the graveyard from the monster zone or from the hand, then you're able to special summon one of your Plunder Patrol monsters that is in the spell and trap zone. And for this deck, you can really easily get the monsters into the spell and trap zones. So going back into the Ignition Assault cards, we have 3 of the Whitebeard and 3 of the Redbeard. So these cards have the same first effect, which is basically as a quick effect during your opponent's turn, you're able to take this and then equip it onto an extra deck monster that you special summon from the extra deck depending on an attribute that your opponent has in the graveyard or on the field. So for instance, very easily, if your opponent is playing Salamangrates, for instance, and they're playing like an all fire attribute, you can generally depend on being able to get out the Plunder Patrol ship Bran. So with this, you're able to just take this, put it onto Bran, and special summon Bran directly from the extra deck and have this on as an equip card, which is absolutely awesome. But along with that, then these each have their own effects depending on if they're sent from the hand or from the monster zone to the graveyard. So unfortunately, you don't get their graveyard effects when they leave from the spell and trap zone. But with the Whitebeard, you're able to special summon another Plunder Patrol monster from the deck, which is really awesome because then you can just go into like a Redbeard or just any of the other guys that you want to get onto the field. And then with the Redbeard, you're able to just attach this onto any other Plunder Patrol as material. So, like if you have something out that you would just like to put another, or not material, just put on another equip spell, it would just be, it's just nice to be able to put this into your spell and trap zone. Then going on into the Eternity Code cards, we have Golden Hair, the newest Plunder Patrol. Not exactly the newest Plunder Patrol, but I mean, like she's still like the new gal on the ship, I guess. But yeah, with Golden Hair, she was like the revolutionary card from Etco, but I mean, I don't know. I think that Black Eyes is really starting to turn the deck around. So anyways, what Golden Hair does is that she is just basically a special summoning machine. So you discard a Plunder Patrol from your hand, or you send one from your face up on your field, and then you get to special summon this from the hand. And then also, if she's in the graveyard, you can also just discard another Plunder Patrol in order to special summon her from the graveyard. So she can basically special summon herself twice per turn, which is absolutely insane. So you can do like a really good Link or Synchro play with her, and then you can also just get her back out onto the field. That way you can do like a good, again, like a Link, Synchro, or XZ fusion play. It's just really, really sweet. Then going on into the Bluebeard, the Plunder Patrol Shipwright. I always feel so bad for this guy because he looks so tired. Like Redbeard and Whitebeard are really like haggling him, and he's just like looking at his papers, and he's just like, I'm just trying to be a good pirate. But anyways, he is a very good pirate. What he does is that he special summons himself to the field as long as you have a Plunder Patrol monster on the field, and then also if he goes to the graveyard from the hand or monster zone, then you can discard a card to draw a card, which again is just really nice to be able to like discard some of these cards like the White and the Redbeard, and then you're able to draw into stuff like hand traps or other extenders. Speaking of hand traps, this is one of my favorite cards to play in the deck, which is Niburu, because Niburu is really good for like 3 reasons. I'm going to save the third reason actually for the extra deck, but so there is a special third reason, but for one, I mean, obviously, if your opponent's playing a combo deck, you want to be playing this. That way you can just blow up their board, and then, then you don't need to deal with, like, big-time negate effects. But also with Niburu is that he will generate the token, and then also he is going to be a light attribute. So your opponent's going to have that light attribute, and then it makes it a lot easier for you to go into your Plunder Patrol ship list, because again, obviously it depends on the attributes at play. Then we have our 2 copies of Ash Blossom. Still just good to play at least 2 Ash in here, just to like slow down your opponent's plays. It's kind of weird to just play it at 2, but you really don't want to get your hands bricked up too much, and there just wasn't really anything else that I wanted to get rid of. Also, with the Ash Blossom, if this hits your graveyard, there is a card in the deck that also helps depend on stuff due to your graveyard. So obviously the White and the Redbeard only go off of your opponent's graveyard, but the Ash Blossom in your graveyard can really help you get into obviously the Bran, the Synchro monster. So for that reason, I really still like playing Ash Blossom in here. Then we have the field spell, like the best field spell for like any archetype, the Plunder Patrol Shipyard. I love the puns with this deck. I will never complain about how this deck, it's just so funny. But anyways, with this, like, you get to increase the attack of all of your Plunder Patrols by 500 for each of your cards that is in the spell and trap zone. And it's really easy to get like 4 or all 5 of your spell and trap zones filled up, so your guys can get really, really beefy. Then also you can discard a card in order to add any Plunder Patrol card from your deck to your hand, which is insane. And then also, if this card is sitting in your graveyard, you can bounce a Plunder Patrol spell or trap back to your hand, and then you can put this back onto the field. So it's really, really crazy just how that works. Then we're going on into 3 copies of the Emblem of the Plunder Patrol. So this is the main reason why Ash Blossom is still really good in here, because this is the card that you equip it onto one of your monsters, and then you send it to the graveyard. So this basically turns any of your Plunder Patrol monsters into like a White or a Redbeard. So basically you equip this onto Black Eyes, and then you can send it put it into the spell and trap zone and equip onto any Plunder Patrol that you want to special summon from the extra deck, as long as it fits an attribute that is on the field or in either graveyard now with this card. So that is really, really cool. Eternity Code was a really great power boost for this deck. I really, really loved all of the support that we got in it. Then we're going on into our fusion card, which is the Plunder Patrol Shipping. And just one quick thing that I want to point out, I know that I've rambled a lot, but I think it's really cool with the artwork on these cards to keep looking for like hints at future cards. And if you look right here, you can actually see the Black Eyes, the Crow, is sitting right there on top of the Plunder Patrol ship. That's the list right there. So it's really cool to like look into the artwork and sort of see where these cards are hiding. There's another really good one in the Plunder Patrol party. You can also see the Black Eyes sitting there on top of Blackbeard. But anyways, this is the fusion card, and then also it lets you activate an emblem or any lets you activate a emblem from the deck, or you can also just attach any of the monsters from the main deck by banishing this from the graveyard, which is really, really nice. 3 copies of Pot of Desires because we're playing a lot of these cards at 2 or 3 ofs, and we just need the hand advantage, like I've mentioned. Also, speaking of hand advantage, I really like playing 2 copies of Triple Tactical Talents in here, but if you guys cannot afford this, there are really good budget options. We will get to that in a minute, but we have 1 copy of Call by the Grave also for the same reason, just to like stop hand traps, or with the talent, if your opponent does hand trap you, you can still just like draw 2 cards and it's just going to really help you to extend your plays. 1 Terraforming and 1 Foolish Burial. So like Terraforming obviously for your field spell, and Foolish Burial is really great for like sending Golden Hair or just any other card that works for the moment. 1 copy of Salvage. This is where your budget options could come in. So like if you can't afford Triple Tactical Talents, you can play 2 copies actually of Salvage, and then maybe just fit in anything like a Plunder Patrol shipping again, the fusion card, or 1 copy of the other trap card, the party that I was just talking about. So either of these 3 cards can easily replace the 2 copies of Triple Tactical Talents. And then we have our Plunder Patrol Booty. This card is super duper good. Also lets you like change an attribute of your opponent's monster on the field. That way you can still go into anything from your extra deck, and then also then like you get to special summon like it's a Monster Reborn for any of your monsters in the graveyard. So you can bring back the white or the red beard with this card, and then you get to tailor one of your opponent's monster's attributes on the field, and then you can just use these to go into anything that you want to, which is really awesome. So anyways, guys, that's going to do it for the 40 card main deck. It's not super duper tight. There's a little bit of flexibility, but I still think that running a lot of these cards at 3 or 2 ofs is really important. So for the extra deck, we are playing, of course, 3 copies of the Blackbeard, the Plunder Patrol Captain. So this card is a Link 2, requires 2 monsters, including at least 1 Plunder Patrol monster, which is very easy to make for this deck. Then with this, as a quick effect, you can target 1 effect monster that you control and then special summon a Plunder Patrol monster from your extra deck with an attribute that works with cards that with an attribute that is on your opponent's field or in the graveyard, just like usual. So this is just like a pseudo version of the white and the red beard. And then along with that, then you get to equip the card that you targeted. So generally, like, you'll sometimes use Blackbeard to just target himself, and then you go on to your like one of your guys, and then so he would get equipped, and then you get to draw a card. So then otherwise, like, you can still do anything else. You can do, like, if you had black eyes on the field, you can just target the black eyes, and then this would go onto the Mork, and then you just have this on as a material, or as an equip spell, and then you get to draw a card, which is really cool, just to again help with the hand advantage. Then we're playing 3 copies of the Plunder Patrol ship Mork. I really like this at 3 because it is the dark attribute one. So this is the one that you're going to most commonly be summoning out. It's like super duper easy because every one of your monsters is a level 4. So you just can easily do rank 4 plays with this guy. So with this, if he does have a really good effect that if he does have his XE materials on him, you can detach material in order to stop your Plunder Patrol card or cards from getting destroyed. So if your opponent's like dropping a lightning storm, then you can save whatever your spells and traps or even your monsters just by detaching material. So I do like going into him the hard way. And then also all of these guys do have like various bonuses if they do have a monster equipped onto them. So if he is equipped with a monster, he does have a quick effect to where you can discard 1 Plunder Patrol card, and then you get to banish 1 card that your opponent controls, and then you add 1 Plunder Patrol spell or trap from your deck into your hand, and then that is a quick effect as long as you are equipped with a monster. So he's just really nice for being able to banish something off of your opponent's field. Like obviously, like if your opponent goes into like Predaplant, Verte, Anaconda, then you can just banish it before it gets off its effect, which is really neat. The only downside is that if your opponent like disrupts you in a way and the card like doesn't get banished, then you don't get to add the Plunder Patrol card, which is a really big detriment. So like I said, all of these guys have like good effects by discarding a card, and then they all have like another additional effect. So the additional effect of the Bran is that you get to, or that all of your Fiend monsters gain 500 attack, which doesn't sound like much, but it really does add up, especially if you have your field spell on the field as well. Then all of your guys can actually get pretty darn beefy. And then with its disruption effect, basically you get to discard a card and then target a spell or trap that your opponent controls and banish it, which is really nice. And then this is a quick effect as long as you do have the equip spell, just like the Mork. I think I might have misspoke when I was talking about Mork, that I said that he can banish any card. He does have to banish an effect monster. So Mork banishes spell or traps. Bran banishes spells or traps, Mork banishes monsters, and then during the resolution of their effects, the Bran adds a Plunder Patrol monster to your hand, and then Mork adds a spell or trap. So it is a little bit confusing, but both of these cards are really, really amazing, and you can generally count on your opponent having something like Ash Blossom, or if they're playing Salamangreats, it's like super duper free that you can easily go into Bran, and Bran is like such a super duper good card. So like if you're trying to go into it like the easy way, like by cheating it out, it is super duper easy because Ash Blossom is just so prevalent in the game. Then we're going on into 2 copies of our list, the fusion card. So with this, List actually has 2 quick effects. So during the main phase, you're able to special summon one of your Plunder Patrols from your hand or your spell and trap zone, which is really nice just to be able to cheat out, again, like the white or the red beard. That way you can use their other quick effects during your opponent's turn. And then also as a quick effect, if your opponent activates a monster effect, then you're able to discard a Plunder Patrol card in order to negate it. And then if this is equipped with a card, then you're able to add any Plunder Patrol card from your deck to your hand as long as it has an equip on it. So like the Bran and the Mork, they work a little bit differently, that they their effects are quick effects if they're equipped, but with the list, it only adds a card to your hand if you have an equip on it. So it is a little bit different, but like all of these cards have their own moments and they all work super duper good. 1 copy of Salamangreat Almirage. This is literally just if you have like a bricky hand, which really isn't too often anymore now that we have the black eyes. But if you basically just open up with like golden hair, then you can just link it away for Almirage, get it into the graveyard, and then you can do the discard effect from graveyard, get it into an extra monster, you know, you get golden hair back onto the field, link away with the Almirage, and then you can easily go into the Blackbeard. So that's just like a really nice simple combo to go into. Then we have 1 copy of Bahamut Shark, 1 totally awesome, and then because we're playing so many XZs, I do have 1 double A Zeus. Again, for budget options, you could just sneak in an Abyss Dweller in this spot. This is like really the only change to the extra deck that I made since my previous deck profile. So really, Abyss Dweller, totally fine to just floodgate and negate your opponent. And then, like I mentioned, with the Nibirus, we did have a special reason why we were playing it in here, and that is because of Adamancipator Risen Dragite. So Dragite is super duper good in here because, like I mentioned, you can easily go into the Bran synchro like super easily because it is technically generic, and so both of these are level 8 synchros. And then with the Adamancipator Dragite, you can actually go into this naturally, and then with its effect, you can reveal the top 5 cards of your deck, and then if you reveal any number of Nibirus, then you're able to bounce cards back to your opponent's hand that are on their field. So, I mean, sometimes you will end up revealing 1, 2, you're hardly ever going to reveal all 3 Nibirus, but, I mean, you can definitely reveal 1 Nibiru and just get a pop back to your opponent's hand. And then the main reason why this is in here is because it is a very simple, cost-free, I might add, spell trap negate. So, if you're trying to get out something like, you know, you want to go into Bran, but you're not going to have anything to discard, then you just go into the Dragite, and then that's going to allow you to have a spell or trap negate because your graveyard is going to be loaded with water monsters. And so even though you're not playing an Adamancipator deck, this card does still have synergy. And then the Nibirus in the main deck is just a really nice bonus because you get to possibly reveal them, and then you get to bounce cards back to your opponent's hand. So anyways, guys, that's going to do it for my deck profile. I know this was a little bit winded. I'm definitely winded from talking so much, but I just really, really love this deck so much. I think after I'm finished with this, I'm going to go watch Pirates of the Caribbean and just keep playing around with this deck online because it was super fun to like dust off this deck and play with it again now that we finally got the Black Eyes, the Plunder Patrol Sea Guide. And like I said, just go ahead and look at the artwork on some of these cards. You can already sort of see where stuff fills in, and I really love looking at these cards to see where you can see some of the other cards for the potential future. You can see Black Eyes sitting on this perch right here, right off of that balcony. Like back when this came out in Ignition Assault, we obviously didn't know that we would get the Bluebeard, but you can see Bluebeard sitting right here fishing off of the dock. So in my opinion, it's really fun to just look at the artwork on these cards and try to figure out what new cards we will get in the future, but I'm really glad that we finally have this card. added a great power level to the deck. So thank you guys again so much for watching. Again, don't forget to subscribe and check out any of my other deck profiles. And I guess we will see you guys for the next profile. Thank you guys so much for watching. We'll see you next time.